As you already know, it all begins in a place in La Mancha, with Alonso Quijano, a nobleman who becomes obsessed with books of chivalry and decides to become a knight-errant, taking the name of Don Quixote. To accompany him on his adventures, he recruits Sancho Panza, a simple and realistic peasant who becomes the perfect counterpoint to Don Quixote's idealism. Armed with an old suit of armor and a skinny horse named Rocinante, Don Quixote and Sancho set out into the world in search of adventure. And the adventures are not long in coming. One of the most famous and funny episodes is when Don Quixote mistakes some windmills for giants and charges at them with his lance, resulting in a comical defeat. Don Quixote is madly in love with a peasant girl whom he idealizes and calls Dulcinea del Toboso. Sancho, despite not knowing her, takes it upon himself to carry messages to this imaginary lady. On another occasion, Don Quixote mistakes an inn, a kind of hostel, for a castle and is greeted with mockery and blows by the travelers who are there. Don Quixote frees a group of galley slaves, condemned to row in galleys, believing that they are being held captive unjustly. The galley slaves, instead of thanking him, beat him and leave him tied to a tree. In one of their wildest adventures, Don Quixote and Sancho mistake a herd of bison for an enemy army and bravely confront them, suffering new wounds. After several defeats, Don Quixote is defeated in a duel by the Knight of the White Moon, who turns out to be one of his friends in disguise. Despite his failures, Don Quixote does not give up and sets out on a second journey, this time with a new squire. Don Quixote and Sancho are invited to a castle by some dukes who have read about their adventures. To amuse themselves, the dukes organize a series of tricks and jokes at Don Quixote's expense, taking advantage of his naivety. They make him believe that Sancho has been appointed governor of an island, that Dulcinea has been transformed into a peasant girl, and that he himself has performed impossible feats. After a series of increasingly crazy adventures, Don Quixote begins to lose his mind and finally returns to his village, or he dies. Despite his madness, Don Quixote becomes a symbol of the struggle for ideals and imagination. His story teaches us not to let ourselves be defeated by reality and to follow our dreams, even if they are impossible.